YouTube, it's me, Bergie, and I'm here with my favorite reads of 2017. If you haven't already checked them out, I have my worst reads of 2017, which I had done in January of this year, and also more recently I did my meh and good/great reads of 2017, but here today I am doing my favorite reads of 2017. So let's just get into it. First up, we have The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman. I gave this an A-. Now this is the third book in his Dark Materials series, which I gave the first two books a B rating. I think it was a B and a B+. This book though really solidified my enjoyment of the series. I felt like it very much tied the series, not necessarily neatly, but in a way that felt fitting. It also made me quite emotional, which is not very hard for a book to do, but I thought it was done very well. It was a great end to the series, and I definitely recommend, if you haven't read that series already, to check it out because I really did enjoy it. Next we have The Trials of Apollo, The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan. I think this was the second book in the series, but I can't remember. It might actually be, no, it's definitely the second one because the third one just came out in 2018. I gave this an A-. I feel like the first time I had read it, I just felt like it was going slowly. I don't know how to describe it. Compared to other books that Rick Riordan has written, it wasn't my favorite, but it was by far not like a bad book. I don't want to say too much because it would be spoiling the series, but it was enjoyable. I can see where he was going with it, and it's kind of weird to kind of review it now because I did since 2017, I did reread this book and the first one, as well as I read the third book, so with the third book I have a whole different opinion and I have more context to the second book, so it's kind of weird. I did enjoy it. Of course, I love every Rick Riordan book, so I obviously recommend reading those. Yeah, just I love Rick Riordan's writing, so I would always recommend his books. Next we have Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jake Kristoff. I gave this an A+. I really enjoyed the Lumine Files series. Again, that's kind of spoilery because I did read the third book, which came out in 2018, but I thought that this second one, Gemina, was really enjoyable. We saw a new cast of characters, which I personally enjoyed. I know some people have issues with this book being too similar to the first one and having kind of similar plots and characters, but I thought it was different enough, and I thought the characters were unique enough that I still really enjoyed it. Next we have Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray, and actually I'll go into the next one too, Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. So these are books 2 and 3 in her Diviner series. Lair of Dreams I gave an A-. Before the Devil Breaks You I've given an A. I just really love what Libba Bray has been doing with this series. She just has a way with creating very interesting and deep characters and creating these plots that are just so amazing. I really love these books so much, and it has little bits of everything in it. There's mystery, there is paranormal fantasy, is romance. It's just so good. And I love the characters because they are also flawed, but they're trying to fix their flaws or to at least combat their flaws. And it's very realistic, and I just love it. And of course these books are also set in the 1920s, and that's just, in New York as well, and it's just, everything is perfect. I just love it. And I can't wait for the fourth book to come out, but we don't know when that's going to be, so that's sad. But I did really enjoy those two books. Next we have Origin by Dan Brown, which is the 5th book in his Robert Langdon series, and oh my god, I love Dan Brown's Robert Langdon series so much. This book I gave an A+, which is not surprising. I'm pretty sure I gave all of his Robert Langdon series A+ ratings, but this one was especially good because Dan Brown kind of went out of his comfort zone. He usually writes about Renaissance artworks, and in this one it was more modern art, and that was really interesting because I don't really have as much knowledge on modern art. And then just the way he ties these conspiracies to different like science or cultural societal topics that are really important. It's just amazing. And if you haven't read the Robert Langdon series by Dan Brown, I totally recommend it, obviously, because this book is on my favorites of 2017. But even if you don't usually read adult books, I just feel like it's gripping enough that anybody would enjoy them. But yeah, I really, really love this new book. I really want to do another reread of this series, but I already, in 2017, I reread them in preparation for this book, so it's a little too soon, but really, really recommend it. Next, we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I gave this an A- because it was quite hefty to get through, but I do understand why that was kind of necessary. It was very interesting to see how the different characters got from point A to point B with the whole mystery thing. I don't want to give too much away again because it would be spoiling the story, and I feel like this main plot point is important to the story. But yeah, I thought it was a great kind of, again, a comment on different societal norms, and it was really interesting. And also it had to do with students of classical civilization, which I was, so it was kind of cool to see that, and also see how she kind of made them pretentious, which is kind of a stereotype of classical civilization students, which is kind of true. But you didn't hear that from me. So yeah, nothing much more to say about that. Next, we have Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I gave this, again, an A-. I read this in preparation for the movie, and oh my goodness, I really enjoyed this book more than I thought I would. Just, it is mostly because of the nostalgia factor, because it does reference a whole bunch of 80s pop culture, and I grew up with those kind of the 80s pop culture, because my mom grew up during that time, so she kind of like imparted it onto me, and it was just really cool to see all of those references in there. Did I think it was kind of heavy-handed sometimes? Yeah, but I think that was part of its charm. And I also did have some issues with some of the characters, but it just, I really overall enjoyed it. Not the best, but it was really, really good. The movie, however, is quite different from the book, and it kind of pissed me off. It is still a good movie, but it just is kind of way too different from the book for my liking. Next, we have 3 books by Meg Cabot, or Cabot, don't know how to pronounce it, but it is The Princess Diaries, Princess in the Spotlight, and Princess in Love. These are the first 3 books in her Princess Diaries series, and I gave them an A-, an A, and an A, respectively. These are, again, guilty pleasure reads for me. I grew up with the Princess Diary movies when I was younger, and when I found out that they were books, I was like, oh, I need to read them just to relive, like, my childhood. And surprisingly, even though they are written for, I think, the younger end of young adult, it was still enjoyable for me. Again, like, I could get through these in a day each. Not even, I could probably read 2 a day, because they are quite easy to read, because they are kind of in diary format. But I just thought they were good. Not much more to say about them. Definitely probably would have been better if I had read them when I was more like 12, 13, but I still thought they were good when reading them as a 22-year-old. I was then? 23-year-old. 22, 23. Whatever. Okay, and the last book I have on this list is Everything All at Once by Bill Nye. This I gave an A. So this, I don't remember if it focused on a specific topic. I feel like it was just, each chapter was a discussion of a variety of topics, but he did it in such an enjoyable way. I mean, if you grew up watching Bill Nye the Science Guy, it was pretty much him talking like that, which I grew up with Bill Nye the Science Guy, so having this book by him was kind of, again, a nostalgia thing. But I also agreed with a lot of the points he raised up. I feel like some of the things that he talked about was like climate change, GMOs, vaccinations, I feel like, and different like societal issues that we have now, and I think he discussed them in a way that even if you don't 100% agree with him, you can still kind of see his perspective, and it was kind of good. And it just, the fact that he is raising these issues up is good just as a discussion, a point of discussion, so I really enjoyed that. But yeah, so those are my favorite reads of 2017. If you have read them, please let me know your thoughts. Did you love them as much as I did? And if not, why? I would love to hear your thoughts on them so we can get a discussion going. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video, which should be my rereads of 2017. And then I'll be finished with this 2017 recap, and I can finally start doing these videos for 2018 like I should be. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.